Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Selamat datang ke podcast Oh Ya Ke. Yeah, thank you so much everybody kerana sudi mendengar kami setiap hari Isnin, Rabu dan Jumaat, InsyaAllah lah, InsyaAllah. Thank you so much everybody yang dah komen-komen, dah follow kita dekat Instagram, dekat kita punya TikTok, dekat kita punya Spotify. Jangan lupa untuk subscribe kita di Spotify. InsyaAllah bila kita dah release episod tersebut, kita akan keluar macam ping lah. Tak ada bunyi lah. Tak ada bunyi ke Spotify? Tak ada bunyi. Ada bunyi. Ada. Spotify, you follow, subscribe, dah akan ada bunyi. Okay. Aku jarang-jarang actually bring seorang asatizah yang ustazah. Usually bring ustaz ko. Nak dapat ustazah ni actually quite susah sikit lah. Tapi tak apa, kita dapat lah. Especially kita dapat yang menang award ni, alhamdulillah, insyaAllah. Dan hari ni kita ada Ustazah Amalina, bukan Amalna
Okay,
bukan Amalina. Apa khabar Ustazah Amalina?
Alhamdulillah, sihat.
Masya Allah. Good, alhamdulillah. Sibuk, banyak-banyak benda, tapi alhamdulillah sebab untuk masyarakat, Masya Allah. Ustaz, okay, kepada siapa yang tak kenal Ustazah Amalina, maybe you can give a brief background. Sebab I understand you daripada atau more to madrasah, lepas tu pergi ke sekular kan. So maybe you can share with us sikit daripada madrasah tu macam mana? You daripada kecil madrasah ke?
Yeah, so saya start pengajian sekolah tu dari madrasah 12 tahun. So daripada primary 1 all the way sampai pre-U 2 complete lah A-levels. Kemudian I cross over to the secular stream, orang kata. So I went to a local university, did my bachelor's. And then alhamdulillah I went to NTU to get my master's degree. And then situlah I think the unique identity for myself as a madrasah student, and then also very passionate and interested in the religious sector. I think I wanted to pursue both. So I memang cari orang kata kerjaya ataupun job yang boleh mengimbangi, and that's where I started my career in counterterrorism.
Right.
And that's the space where I think memang tak ramai lah yang boleh orang kata daftil both
Yep, of course.
research and also still talk about the religious concepts, the counter ideology from a religious standpoint. So alhamdulillah, in that sense, it paved a really great way, and especially as a woman in the regional ataupun in the global stage, and I think along the way that's the process lah. I rasa macam I come to terms and very comfortable with my identity as a Muslim, and then sambung in the corporate space to where I'm doing now, as a day job. I work as a policy manager.
Policy manager in Korea.
In a trust and safety space. I think it's important to find meaning lah in whatever that we do. But alhamdulillah, I think there's a lot of risk in terms of like time, in terms of capacity outside of work to still be able to contribute within the religious space, but also non-religious space. So yeah, that's me in short.
Wow, that is a very interesting. Dia short, tapi actually it's more outstanding lah actually benda tu. Kalau aku keluarkan dia bio dia, actually alhamdulillah lah, rezeki Allah. Sebab I think generally for people yang ingin masuk ke alam macam ukhrawi lah, macam belajar tentang agama, aliran agama, orang takut yang they cannot connect back dekat secular. This is general, but you prove wrong lah. Macam you can actually do that.
You can, but definitely it comes with some challenges lah.
Of course.
Kalau orang kata macam because from the religious sector, from the madrasah space, it's very safe. Dari sudut pergaulan, dari sudut topik-topik yang you berbual.
Betul.
Tapi kalau you cross over to the secular space or just be with the society in generally, which I think you would know better, you
Main terbalik, main daripada sini ke sana.
dari sudut pergaulan, dari sudut the kind of issues that you also deal with. But I think it's very important sebab as asatiza, when we get religious questions, it's also important for us to know and sort of walk the shoes of these people.
Yes.
In everyday life, like say when I work in corporate, like there's only few of us who will be able to empathize how difficult it is maybe to navigate dari sudut pergaulan, dari sudut social events dan sebagainya. These are actually very real issues that people deal with. And so I think the footprint of Asatiza diversifying in terms of career is actually a very good thing.
Yeah, because I think the way you approach it is very real and correct. Sebab sekarang dalam dunia sekarang ni, you tak boleh saja macam bila orang tanya boleh tak macam gini, you cannot just answer them halal haram. You nak kena explain and understand the situation, apa yang dia tengah lalui sekarang, and then you can explain to them, okay, in what sense, then dia boleh adapt to it. Sebab because I believe I understand that you are heavily involved, heavily involved dalam youth programs. I think Mendaki as well. So what do you generally do for macam youth sekarang?
So in terms of the volunteering space outside of work, memang I give back a lot of time from the youth empowerment space. So primarily I'm the vice president for Mendaki Club.
Masya Allah.
So I lead the vertical pillar. We have programs macam career mentoring, career conversations, career convention, and I think the idea is for us to connect macam the younger ones, the youth who want to venture into areas where you tak nampak pun actually Melayu Muslim kat situ. And fundamentally I think aspirational figures are important. So that you rasa you ada that confidence to break into that particular industry. So that's one of the portfolio. I'm also with the Muhammadiyah Welfare Home Board of Directors.
Masya Allah.
And that looks
boleh
at
harapan.
Slightly different profile of youth. And I think it comes with different set of challenges. But more importantly is also it challenges us in terms of how do you want to continue empowering youth, but with different background. And then also I'm also part of the advisory committee with LBKM. So LBKM is an organization that gives out bursaries, scholarship, and I think when you talk about youth empowerment, it's not just about mungkin dari sudut career or dari sudut camp program, but I think financial empowerment is also important. So at the end of the day, I think we would agree that there's only so much that we can do, and at the end of the day, access to education is very important. And actually that's why I want also for the community. We have come so far, I think. Macam masyarakat Melayu kita kalau dulu memang tak ramai pun yang masuk uni. Tapi sekarang I think we have seen
it's quite normal lah macam ternampak anak Melayu masuk uni.
Yes, it is a good growth, and I think we are very proud as sebagai satu masyarakat. Tapi kalau kita nak tengok macam what else kan? Macam kalau kita compare dengan masyarakat lain, like we still have a long way to go. Now I think alhamdulillah it is quite a norm that people start to think about taking master's degree, taking PhD. And then I think,
but is it generally because of macam financial, atau you feel that macam kenapa diorang tak nak macam continue sampai master degree?
Mungkin I think it depends the job landscape. I think there's a lot of push in terms of very skills based, not very much on certificates. So macam kalau I ada macam juniors or youth yang datang cakap nak ambil masters, my first question is kenapa sebenarnya you nak ambil masters?
How many years is masters? 3 juga?
No, so 1 to 2 depending.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Tapi
so
dia stress
definitely lah stress. Kalau tak stress,
saya masters of the universe, so dia kurang sikit lah.
Boleh juga.
Yalah. More industrial experience lah.
Tapi pokoknya I think at the end of the day, sometimes people ambil masters ni diorang rasa sebab if you have an additional certificate, diorang rasa macam okay, you get more opportunities. Tapi tak semestinya, because the job landscape memang as it is very competitive lah. But also I think some people feel that it can open a lot more doors. So I think understanding how a master's degree actually contributes or helps is very important. And same likewise for PhD lah. Is it memang akan kasih you career growth, or you memang nak cross industry and you need that, then it makes sense. Kalau tak, rasa macam it takes time. It takes a lot of time.
And especially kita not getting any younger, and then kita punya own responsibilities yang kita have to pasal kita dah get older and kita ada bills to pay. Kalau you want to commit into master degree ni semua, is gonna take a lot of your time lah. Because most of my friends macam banyak kita member ada master degree. I have a friends lah yang took their master degree. Usually bila akan ambil master degree tu, actually already in the job, already in the field, and then they want to upscale, and then baru upskill. upskill
Yes.
themselves, and then of course lah for better pay and everything, baru orang akan ambil. Kau tak usually orang just macam, why should I bother? Okay, just because you are heavily involved, kita masuk topik-topik yang dalam sikit.
Yes.
Since you are heavily involved in youth punya program kan, what do you feel like sekarang is the most macam problem yang you feel, this is actually quite a big problem untuk youth?
I think based on my observation, macam with the different pockets of youth that we engage, I think one of the things that comes starkly to mind is the lack of maybe hunger from our youth.
Dia tak lapar ke macam mana?
Macam mana, macam tak tahu masih lapar ke tak lapar, macam mana macam gitu. And I say because
lapar untuk apa tu, Ustazah?
nak lapar untuk mengejar kejayaan
Untuk mengejar kejayaan. Faham?
Yeah, so I share this because last year I was part of I represented Singapore for the ASEAN Youth Fellowship.
Masya Allah.
And that actually brings
Fellowship
together
of the ring. Okay. Fellowship. Okay. What is that?
So it actually is a program that brings together ASEAN youth leaders under NYC. And it's a camp where it's a program where you bring together youth leaders to start think about how to share best practices, what works in different countries. So I think that actually give me the space to understand with other youth leaders macam apa sebenarnya yang diorang buat with the youth segment in their own country. And I realised that untuk kita as masyarakat Melayu, actually they're quite advanced lah vis-a-vis other countries. Diorang masih, kalau kita cakap tentang say technology, kita dah think about maybe HBLs, beyond 5Gs and things like that. Manakala diorang masih tengah fikir access to technology itself.
Masih pakai OHP lah.
Mungkin lah, tak sempat nak tanya. But it's very different. And I think macam when we see a lot of them yang actually make a lot of social or political impact in their respective countries, I can't help but to think macam kita punya masyarakat ni, we've come such a long way. Tadi macam kita baru cakap kan, and we have so many programs now, and I think you can also attest to that. Banyak-banyak program, tapi kita macam mana youth kita ni sebenarnya.
Itu dia satu benda yang hit the nerve. Macam kita, the initiatives ada.
Yes.
Kita, especially for us lah, macam kita try to do as much as we can. Macam okay, apa nak kursus solat yang percuma, mental health, apa whatever lah yang you feel that as a youth you need, kita try to work with our own teams, and kita cross dengan other teams to work on it. Tapi kenapa the attendance dia kurang?
Yes, macam tak show up.
Especially kalau benda tu dalam masjid. Is the honest truth? Is the truth? Kan? So why do you, macam to you lah personally, kenapa you rasa macam tu?
I pun sebenarnya masih tercari-cari lah jawapannya. I think macam you cakap, there's so many resources now. Mungkin resources ni and opportunities or peluang-peluang ni adalah peluang yang kita tak ada. Sebab tu kita motivated and kita macam okay, you know what, we had to go through a lot. So now we have the rezeki, the time, the resources, knowledge. So we want to make it better for the youth today. But then when we put it out there, kita macam apa pasal youth tak show up. And sometimes it can be for various reasons lah. Kadang-kadang it's just macam
tak fun enough ke kita?
Mungkin
kita tak fun ke?
Okay. You generation apa?
Saya millennial.
Okay.
Sama.
So
jangan rasa saya tua sangat. Ustazah. Jangan.
So maksudnya macam maybe for some of them just macam because busy ke nak kena study, nak kena revision, jadi tak nak pergi.
Nak kena lepak Arab Street, nak kena lepak Rumia.
Macam gitu. So macam mungkin tak ada extra effort kot untuk try your best to show up. Because mungkin pada kita that time tak banyak, tak banyak of this opportunity. Jadi kita we make the extra effort. Mungkin that could be one of it.
Maybe kita kena turn lah. Maybe kita akan nanti insyaAllah kita akan bekerjasama lagi insyaAllah to do something different lah. Okay, kita patah balik. I pull you back pasal the last time I actually saw you was dekat ICOS punya event. Okay, generally honestly I think some of you guys and follow aku dekat Instagram akan tahulah aku buka cover ICOS tu kan. ICOS tu apa Ustazah?
ICOS. Okay, so ICOS actually in short for the International Conference of Communities of Success. It's a conference that actually brings together asatiza, a lot of ground up initiative practitioners, so orang-orang yang kendalikan pelbagai program yang speak to masyarakat kita, but also overseas delegates. So I think the very important thing is that as a minority community, how can we also learn from masyarakat-masyarakat lain in terms of how do they live a thriving life as Muslims as well. Jadi kalau you tengok masa yang panel yang I moderate tu, we have people daripada masyarakat kita sendiri, Project Hills, kemudian kita kita scope out on a more macro level. Yes, national level, where we have Madam Rahayu talking about Kickstart, and then we also brought an international speaker from the United States that talk about macam mana kita nak contribute sebagai seorang Muslim ni outside of the realm of community masyarakat kita, masyarakat Muslim dekat negeri kita sendiri. And I think that speaks a lot to the fact that macam as Muslims, it's not just about thinking, okay, how do we give back to our community, masyarakat kita kat Singapore kan, but it speaks a lot to kita punya character as Muslims lah. At the end of the day, apa yang kita ada ni kan semua rezeki kan. Rezeki dari sudut time, dari sudut energy, knowledge, capability. And that actually reminds me a lot of when people ask macam tak penat ke buat kerja-kerja sukarelawan ni kan, pro bono. Jadi macam orang tanya kenapa kita nak buat selain daripada kita nak mengejarkan barakah ataupun keredaan Allah, kerana at the end of the day kita nak tempat ke syurga. Tapi rasanya and this is something that I found along the way when I was doing a lot of volunteering work. There's a hadith that actually Rasulullah SAW actually explains that actually dalam kita ni banyak hak-hak orang lain.
Dalam rezeki kita ni lah.
Yes. Jadi dari sudut macam you ada your time, macam one very clear example is kita punya zakat lah, which clearly shows that not everything of our money is ours. Tapi kalau you think about other intangible stuff that's actually within us, one thing is kalau orang datang kat kita, okay, kita hulurkan. Tetapi the other part that Allah akan tanya juga is orang-orang kat luar sana yang actually hak dia ada dalam you keluar tak untuk kasih diorang? And that is something that will be questioned in the day of judgment. Yeah. So I think at the end of the day macam you nak to be able to speak confidently bila Allah tanya you macam you dah buat belum apa yang you patut buat. I kasih you ABCD, you kasih tak kat orang tu? You nak confident cakap yang you dah cuba sedaya upaya yang boleh.
I think I'm sorry kalau I cut you. Generally sebab bila kita nak katakan pertolongan atau macam to help others dalam masyarakat tu kan, usually kita akan tengok apa kita kurang. Macam aku ni masih kurang, asal aku nak tolong orang macam okay, it's
bila
tapi
nak
bila nak game kan macam asyik orang nak tolong kita nak kena tolong dia je, tapi dia tak nak tolong orang lain macam in that aspect lah. Sebab I think generally lah, I think I also am guilty of it sometimes lah. Macam kita sekarang lupa dengan rezeki yang Allah berikan yang actually ada access tu kita tak nampak, tapi kita suka fokus on apa yang kita kurang. Oh kita tak cukup ni, kita tak cukup tu, tapi ada lagi orang lain yang lagi teruk daripada kita kan. So kita should always macam I think I always talk macam I talk about this topic dengan Ustaz Sky before as well, yang kalau you nak sedekah tu, okay, tak semestinya orang yang susah tak boleh sedekah kan. Let's say you have $1, 10 cent tak boleh, because sedekah has no macam monetary value. Macam di mata Allah tu, Allah tak really kisah berapa kau sedekah, because $1, 10 cents out of $1 is still a lot for you. Macam let's say you only have $1, untuk orang yang ada 1 million maybe lah benda dia tak ada value kan. So tapi pada mata Allah tu, Allah cuma tengok your niat untuk bersedekah, untuk menolong orang. Kalau tak ada dalam segi wang, kita tolong dalam segi power lah, power. Segi tenaga. So trying to speak English lain,
which is true lah. Macam bila you cakap tu pun macam I teringat of one of the hadith yang memang one of the hadith that I hold strongly to, which is the best amongst us are those who bring benefit to others kan. And the hadith actually is very generic in that sense, because it gives you that space to figure out macam you nak kasih dia sudut time ke, kalau mungkin you pandai maths, so you ajarlah tuition maths ke apa ke macam gitu. And it doesn't limit to what you sebenarnya boleh. Tak semestinya sedekah aja. And sedekah as you cakap kan, macam there's also other hadis which says that kalau you boleh kasih sikit, macam memang lebih mulia daripada you kasih sekelepuk sekali je.
Betul.
But bila you buat maybe every Friday, maybe lah you kasih $5 every Friday, and you buat that macam very religiously kan, it's still something that dipandang lebih mulia di mata Allah. Yeah.
Okay, I want to tanya you sikit. Kita keluar lagi sikit lah kan, sebab because I from the whole thing that you explained tadi, you are already working in your own macam the full time job, and then you are heavily involved in all these things macam mendaki banyak macam pro bono lah tadi you cakap kan, untuk masyarakat, to help uplift the community and everything kan. What is actually your drive? Macam everybody ada their own drive. What is yours actually?
I think when I first started, I think the main motivation came from my own experience daripada madrasah. I think then lah, sistem madrasah tu kan orang kata macam kekurangan lah dari sudut mungkin asatiza, quality of education ataupun resources. I think that's the right word. So I sebenarnya empathize dengan orang yang tak ada resources. For madrasah students back then, kalau I cerita kat kawan-kawan I, tak ada orang percaya. Macam that was how hard we had to study, had to learn. Yang mana kadang-kadang tak ada kitabnya, nak kena cari kitabnya, put together kitab. Jadi juniors pula ada buku untuk belajar. It went to that extent. Kalau kita nak belajar sains, madrasah tak ada cukup resources, jadi kita kena keluar untuk belajar. Or kita pergi other madrasah where JC teachers would come to teach us. Jadi actually there's a lot of great lengths that we have to go through just to be able to dapatkan the opportunity. So of course that creates a lot of resilience. It goes back to hunger kan, sebab kita tak ada, jadi kita nak. And so I think when I cross over to the secular area, I think that's where I realised that actually banyak rupanya opportunity ni, tapi I je yang tak tahu. And so that's where one of my drivers is to make sure that those who come after us, the younger ones, they don't need to go through the hard path that we did. What we need is to either bridge them or avail them the opportunity. But beyond that, also along the way, I will acknowledge that definitely there are people who see the potential in you. And I think that's very important for the youth out there, not just to find mentors, but actually to be in the right circles. Because that's where people can see what's your potential, maybe leadership, things like that. And people will give you the opportunity to grow and give back in ways that you cannot imagine. So if you tanya I, macam maybe in 16 years old dulu, do I imagine myself to be here? Of course not lah.
Kan kita semua imagine to be something far more different lah.
Mungkin macam you nak astronaut, tapi
macam you tahu?
Bukan. Oh, tadi I dah baca-baca.
Yalah. Tadi dia dah baca, dia ada ilmu dia tadi. Tapi betul-betul aku punya main dulu nak jadi NASA. Tapi taklah kesampaian. Cuba I realise macam I think it's a bit too far-fetched lah. Lepas tu nak turun, nak jadi jadi Air Force pilot. Lepas tu pun sama juga, lupa kita kat mana. Lepas tu turun lagi, sampailah yang berdapat pergi holiday skydive je. Macam gitu. Seperti itulah. Tapi okay lah, Alhamdulillah. Macam my motivation untuk menolong ni is actually because I always believe yang dengan apa yang Allah berikan kepada kita, ada benda yang nanti Allah akan soal. Seperti macam because back then bila when I started doing macam I learn bab-bab Islamic ni semua, I was thinking to myself, apa benda yang aku boleh buat sekarang within my means untuk tolong masyarakat, yang actually I'm good at lah, and which is actually buat content. So that's why I started doing content bab Islamic, which is actually very simple, and then I also never realised yang benda tu boleh fly sampai million views and everything. But also this one also bila benda tu dah terbang tinggi, these views dah high kan, it also reminds me, it shows me macam yang benda basic ni actually banyak orang tak tahu. And then macam tapi banyak youth yang nak belajar, so tapi they are more comfortable learning in their own house atau in their own phones. Pasal orang tak tahu yang dia tengah belajar. Faham tak?
Faham.
Sebab macam kalau dia pergi kelas, dia rasa dia malu. So kalau dia belajar daripada TikTok, nak belajar macam mana rukun solat, 13 rukun solat, dia baca, dia save, dia tengok kat sendiri kat rumah, dia rasa dia comfortable in that sense. So that's what I use. And then I motivate. That was what motivated me lah.
Yeah.
And then walaupun you tak tanya, I tell you lah. Ustaz,
Belum sempat nak tanya.
Gurau-gurau. Saya suka gurau, Ustazah.
Okay,
Saya
boleh,
memang macam gitulah bahasa saya ni. That's why I also do macam street interviews as well.
Okay.
To know of the current situation of youth as of now. Okay, macam mana. So tapi I always cover tu bukan saja I interview youth. I always cover, kalau if you see lah my contents, if you follow me.
Tapi kenapa youth?
In my Instagram. Why? Because I can
youth themselves specifically, kenapa?
Because kita sama linggo. Some language. Macam gitu tak lah. Also because I feel like okay, my demographics are actually they're very wide.
Okay.
Tapi I feel like sekarang youth lagi senang terpengaruh dengan media sosial.
Okay.
To me personally, sebab apa yang diorang nampak tu is mostly all the influence come from social media. Macam kita punya zaman, kita kan punya zaman yang sama. Kita punya zaman usually kita ada masih okay lagi. Kita masih pegangan kita kuat sikit. To me lah. To me lah. Oh, ya ke? Sekarang dah faham? Macam gitu. Kita punya pegangan macam stronger sikit dengan kita usually generally lah. Ada lagi pasal mak bapak kita zaman dulu, kita punya zaman lah, kita punya parents suka macam akan still push you for agama. Sekarang I don't know, because I'm not a parent myself. So I don't know. So that's why I went down, and then I realised that okay, actually youth need help lah.
Faham.
In that sense.
Okay.
Ustazah ada soalan untuk saya?
Okay.
Tak ada.
Jawapan yang memuaskan.
Alhamdulillah, InsyaAllah ada lagi persoalan semua so far so good lah. Okay, saya this is saya nak selitih satu soalan boleh tak? Yang tak ada kena-mena. Ini tak ada kena langsung lah.
Takutnya okay.
Tak ada kena-mena. Betul, ni macam sebab ini ada satu soalan yang memang daripada para pendengar aku kasih korang ni lah kan. Aurat wanita. Random gila. Okay, I always have this kind of random questions. Okay. Aurat wanita. Okay, aurat lagi saya faham. Aurat wanita actually cover what is the top to bottom. Kini memang out of this question, tapi memang kita kejutkan. Tapi okay, boleh Ustazah share kita tak?
Memang semuanya yang patut ditutup. Yang boleh lihat cuma tangan
boleh.
Dan juga muka lah.
Oh, so this ada tu. So kira kan leher tak boleh.
Ya, cuma ada tu macam pandangan yang berbeza dari sudut kaki.
Right.
Jadi ada yang pakai stokin, ada tak pakai stokin.
Tu pandangan daripada different mazhab atau
saya
different mazhab. So kita Syafi'i is you have to wear socks.
Saya akan kata tapi mungkin ada juga yang berpandangan berbeza.
Faham. So okay, generally saya understand kan aurat sebagai seorang wanita tu baju yang tak boleh nampak shape,
tutup susuk badan.
Tak nampak susuk badan, nak kena tutup, leher tak boleh nampak, tangan sampai inilah, sampai palm ni semua ni okey.
Boleh.
Okey, tapi kena pakai, kalau pakai nak yang sleeve sampai sini kena pakai hand sock dia ke apa tu kan. Hand socks. Lepas tu pakai stokin cover. Okay, faham. Tu saja.
Kadang orang kata lah macam as simple as kalau you pakai baju tu you boleh buat solat tak? Ada orang buat, ada analogi dia macam gitu.
Faham.
Jadi kalau you rasa you selesa untuk bawa solat, then okay.
Asalkan pakaian you dengan pakaian tersebut you terus pergi masjid, you terus boleh solat, that means to pass halas.
Yes. I think the challenge now is with modest fashion lah. Dah cakap pasal orang ni kan. I think macam mana nak cakap kadang kita pun okay lah, Alhamdulillah I think now we have a lot more asatizah yang mungkin fashionable dari sudut syar'i, yang mana kita boleh still ada penampilan
ikut current trend punya looks lah.
Yes, tapi pun tak yang tak terlalu attract attention sangat.
Faham.
Masih dalam the landscape of the syariah yang kita boleh lah. And I think it's important for also a lot of women out there, or the younger ones especially, to have to see that it is possible. Kalau you nak pakai gini, nak pakai gitu, tapi you still cannot observe di apa yang hukum hakam yang kita boleh. But of course lah, kadang-kadang influence daripada other countries or how they
influencer
ke situ.
Selit.
How they influence daripada other masyarakat kerana dia punya norma tu sangat berbeza daripada kita kat sini.
Correct, faham.
Jadi kadang-kadang itulah dengan you cakap kan social media with what you see, kadang-kadang you sendiri rasa macam you nak pakai macam gitu, jadi mungkin ada yang pakai nampak leher dan sebagainya. Mungkin perjalanan mereka untuk berhijab dengan secara sempurna berbeza. Of course anda tak judge lah kan.
Tak apa, insyaAllah tak apa.
Tapi pokoknya back to that point is dari sudut aurat begitu. Kalau you still nak berfashion dan sebagainya, memang boleh, asalkan you tak attract too much attention and still dalam hukum hakam.
Right. I think generally untuk berhijab atau pada siapa yang ingin berhijrah nak tukar pakaian tersebut, you can still look good at it, wearing it at it. You can still look good wearing it. And I think sekarang dekat Singapore macam even like Arab Street, Haji Lane ni semua banyak sekarang kedai-kedai yang actually sells this kind of pakaian-pakaian yang of course sebab saya biasa buat street interview kat situ. Dengan saya biasalah kan ada kerja lah kat situ lah. Ustazah dapat any last few words maybe for the youths out there ke apa-apa you want to shout out for yourself as well?
Shout out for myself.
I don't know, anything you want to share with them?
I think for youth at the end of the day, kalau kita cakap pasal the younger ones
For me lah, younger ones.
For you, okay. Tak tahu pun nak cakap.
Okay.
I think it's very important for youth to remain hungry and dream big. Mungkin when we were growing up, we don't have that many role models, tak banyak aspirational figure. Mungkin pun the landscape of Asadiza pun berbeza. But now we have so many resources, we have so many programs, so many avenues, there's so many new platforms as well. I hope the youth will continue to leverage where we have come. Sebagai masyarakat Melayu Muslim ni, memang we have come so far. But at the end of the day, we must continue to dream big. At the end of the day, where you have achieved maybe what you think is success, look back and see who else can you bring together with you. And I think that speaks a lot to our identity as Muslims. You don't just pave the way for us alone, but think about if you pave the way, who else can you bring with you? And inshallah, I think at the you know, at the end of the day, any of you who bring benefits to others, inshallah, are the most are the ones that Allah will look with a lot of rida. And that's why I think live a life full with barakah. And as much as we just stay on the course of the right niyat, continue to chase what we want, and strive to achieve a balance of good, worldly and also the success in the akhirah, insyaAllah.
InsyaAllah. Thank you so much kerana sudi sharekan kita tentang tersebut. Dengan I think also I just want to add on sikit lah. Dekat Singapore ni I believe that pertolongan tu ada banyak, really, macam there's a lot of initiatives. So jangan because of maybe kekurangan dalam segi mata wang tu, it becomes a sekatan for you to not further your studies atau for you to not work harder, because pertolongan ada. Sometimes cuma kita yang tak pergi cari.
And bila you cakap tu pun macam I teringat, kadang-kadang orang segan nak minta bantuan.
Kenapa?
Bukan nak minta bantuan lah, atau nak apply pun. Masalahnya berseri tu dah memang ada. Wang tu memang ada kat situ. It is meant for masyarakat kita. Jadi kadang-kadang orang rasa
tak
macam
utilize lah.
Kadang-kadang ataupun maybe mentality yang orang selalu or yang I observe is that orang rasa kita janganlah minta sebab ada orang yang lagi memerlukan.
Allah, ingat orang belakang. Barakah.
Which is good. It's a selfless mentality.
Betul.
But I think at the end of the day is also how are you helping yourself.
Correct.
Because those bantuan-bantuan adalah untuk you juga. And you perlu bantu diri you supaya you boleh take care of people around you so that you can be better, maybe break the poverty cycle or be the first generation of university graduate in your family. Astronaut, firefighter dan sebagainya. Boleh, insyaAllah. Macam gitulah. Jadi nak as much as you want to be selfless at chasing that part of excellence, betterment for yourself, try to be a bit selfish and take up the assistance that's available for you.
Jangan terlalu ni lah, tak apa-apa nanti ingat orang belakang. Sebab seperti itulah bila kita makan tu kan, usually last piece tak orang makan lah, jadi rugi lah, wasted. Tapi that time pun I was,
sebenarnya tak faham tau contoh dia kenapa apa link dia.
sama lah dengan pasal fikir orang belakang. Habis end up you don't want to take. Sama lah, so, sama, cuma konsep dia lain sikit. So kita cakap pasal konsep makan. Sebab kalau kita ambil, kita dapat berkat pasal tak orang makan. Macam itulah. So dalam segi pertolongan tu, just take it sebab rugi lah. At the end of the day, actually banyak orang tak realise kat luar sana yang all these bursaries and everything, actually ada, cuma tak ada orang yang actually, tak banyak lah orang actually utilise satu ticket. Grab that opportunity and then use it, insyaAllah. Dengan itu, berkat itu, if you further your studies, and then you can actually help everything, everybody else lah. Nak buat English dah longgar-langkang. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much Ustazah. Thank you so much for coming over. InsyaAllah kalau kita ada rezeki, kita akan cover topik-topik yang lain.
Yes, insyaAllah.
Yang ada saya nampak bio. Kalau sesiapa yang ingin mengenal Ustazah, maybe can follow Instagram. Ustazah punya Instagram apa Ustazah?
Amalina.abdulnasir.
Dan nanti
simple je.
Amalina.abdulnasir. Lepas tu check lah biografi dia, apa dia belajar. Okay. Thank you so much everybody kerana sudi mendengar kami di podcast Oh Ya Ke. Kalau korang ada ini persoalan yang ingin korang ketengahkan, korang boleh saja komen kita dekat Instagram, boleh saja DM dekat Instagram Oh Ya Ke, atau boleh sajalah hello dekat Ustazah Amalina kalau ada ini soalan yang you guys want to be personally tanya dia lah. Okay, sehingga kita berjumpa lagi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.